Let me ask you something. What if I told you that some of the most trustworthy machines ever built didn't come from Silicon Valley, didn't run on software, and had nothing to do with modern electronics, but instead came roaring out of the 1970s with steel bones, raw attitude, and a soul that never quits? Yes, I'm talking about motorcycles from an era where reliability meant something. No fancy diagnostics, no plastic covers hiding cheap parts, just engines built to outlive their owners and frames that could handle a beating day after day, year after year. You see, today's bikes might look smarter, but are they really built better? Most people don't even ask that question anymore. They've been brainwashed by marketing, tricked by touchscreen dashboards, and seduced by tech that breaks down the moment your warranty expires. But in the 1970s, motorcycles were made with a different philosophy. You didn't ride for likes or algorithms, you rode because that machine meant freedom. And the companies that built them, Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Harley, Triumph, they weren't trying to lock you into a maintenance plan. They were trying to build a legend. And the truth is, some of those legends still start with a single kick to this day. Now let's be real, not every 1970s bike was reliable. Some were disasters on two-wheel soil leakers, rust collectors, machines that spent more time in the garage than on the road. But a select few, they were different. They were the tanks of the motorcycle world, built like war machines, tuned like instruments, refined over time until they became immortal in garages, clubs, and collectors' hearts. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. This isn't just a list, it's a rebellion. A rebellion against disposable engineering, against the planned obsolescence of today's machines, against the idea that something has to be new to be dependable. Because if you're tired of breakdowns, tired of overpaying for style with no substance, tired of being just another number at 1. Honda CB750, 1,969, 1,978. This is the godfather of modern motorcycles. The CB750 didn't just set the standard for reliability, it became the standard. Why? Because Honda didn't build this to win over bikers. They built it to dominate the world. An inline-4 engine that ran smoother than most cars at the time. A front disc brake, electric start, and most importantly, it could go 100. 0 miles without breaking a sweat if you respected it. No one had seen that before. Riders could go cross-country without bringing a toolbox. The CB750 wasn't just a motorcycle, it was a revolution. 2. Yamaha XS650, 1,979.1979. You want bulletproof? You want mechanical honesty? Look no further. The XS650 was Yamaha's counterattack to the British twins, and it destroyed them. Twin-cylinder, simple, rugged. You could throw this thing off a cliff, pick it back up, and still ride it home. Its parallel twin engine was so reliable, even custom builders and cafe racers still hunt these down today. They know the truth. XS650S are cockroach bikes. They survive everything neglect, abuse, time. 3. Kawasaki Z1 1,972, 1,976. If you think muscle cars were the kings of the 70s, think again. The Kawasaki Z1 was a muscle bike with a brain. With a 903cc engine, it wasn't just fast, it was dependable at top speed. This wasn't a bike you had to baby. It could handle redline, it could handle dirt roads, it could handle being ridden, and it did it without falling apart. Because Kawasaki engineered it to outshine the CB750, and they did. 4. BMW 7 Reals 5/5, 1,973. Precision, that's the word. BMW didn't care about flashy speed. They built bikes for people who planned to ride them across continents. The R75/5's boxer engine was a low-stress marvel. It ran cool, it ran clean, and it lasted forever. These bikes were so reliable that many have crossed over 200,000 miles with nothing more than oil, valves, and love. Ask any long-distance rider from the 70s. If they were serious, they were riding a BMW. 5. Honda CB500, 1,971, 1,974. Sometimes smaller means smarter. The CB504 was like its big brother, CB750, but more nimble, more efficient, and even more forgiving. This bike became the daily driver of thousands because it never let them down. It could idle for hours. It could handle heat, cold, rain, dust without complaint. Even Honda admitted this bike was over-engineered. And when a Japanese engineer says that, you know it's true. 6. Suzuki GT750, 1971, 1977. A two-stroke liquid-cooled touring bike? In the 70s? That was unheard of. But Suzuki pulled it off with the GT750. Nicknamed the Water Buffalo, this thing was smooth, fast, and dependable. You might think two-stroke means unreliable, but Suzuki refused to let it be. They gave it radiator cooling, bulletproof internals, and a balanced feel that made it easy to ride long distance. This was proof that bold engineering could still be reliable. 7. Honda CB350, 1968, 1973. The working man's hero. The CB350 didn't pretend to be fast or flashy. It just worked. Its twin-cylinder engine was so forgiving, so easy to maintain, that it became the first bike for an entire generation of riders. You could crash it, drop it, flood it, still started. Even in today's world, a CB350 will fire up on the first kick if you've kept it clean. That's not nostalgia, that's engineering. 8. Harley-Davidson FX Superglide, 1971, 1979. Yes, Harley makes the list and not by accident. The FX Superglide was the bridge between old-school cruisers and modern-day V-twins. And unlike its AMF-era cousins, this one had backbone. With fewer electronics and a solid shovelhead engine, the Superglide could take punishment and still roll strong. This wasn't just a rebels ride it was dependable rebellion, and that's rare. 9. Kawasaki KZ650, 1976, 1979. Often called the baby Z1, this was no toy. The KZ650 had all the heart of its older brother, but in a tighter, leaner package. And reliability? Through the roof. You could run this bike hard for 10 years and the engine would barely notice. It was also insanely easy to tune, making it a favorite among garage mechanics and serious riders alike. 10. Yamaha RD350, 1973, 1975. Yes, a two-stroke again, and this time it's the Yamaha RD350, a street-legal race bike that never gave up. What made it reliable wasn't just its engine, it was the simplicity. Lightweight, minimal electronics, easy to rebuild. You could tear this bike down in your shed and have it running like new in a weekend. RD350s are still raced today for a reason, they don't die. 11. Triumph Bonavville T140, 1973, 1979. Before British bikes got messy, there was the T140 Bonavville. This was Triumph's last real punch before the industry collapse, and they made it count. Twin-cylinder, solid gearbox, better electrics than before. It was the last of the golden era Brit bikes that could actually be trusted. And to this day, many of these are still running and ridden every weekend. 12. Moto Guzzi V7. Special, 1970, 1971. Italian bikes don't often get called reliable, but the V7 Special breaks that rule. Its transverse V-twin engine was overbuilt and understressed. You could cruise at highway speeds all day, and it wouldn't even blink. It was built like a locomotive and sounded like one too. Ask anyone who owns one. These bikes are tanks and tuxedos. 13. Honda GL1000, Goldwing, 1975, 1979. Before the Goldwing became a rolling sofa, it was a reliable beast. The GL1000 was liquid-cooled, shaft-driven, and engineered to never quit. Tourers loved it. Mechanics loved it. Riders worshipped it. Even with minimal maintenance, this bike could do 200,000 plus miles without needing a rebuild. And that's why it's a legend. 14. Suzuki GS750, 1976, 1979. One of the best forgotten bikes of the decade. The GS750 was Suzuki's entry into the four-stroke game, and they nailed it. Smooth engine, great suspension, dead simple maintenance. You could hammer this thing day in, day out, and it would ask for more. It didn't get the fame of the CB or Z1, but real riders know the GS750 might have been better. 15. Honda XL250, 1972, 1979. Last but certainly not least is the XL250, the first four-stroke enduro that actually worked. Off-road? Check. Highway? Check. Reliable as hell? Double check. This bike could cross deserts, ride through monsoons, and still fire up in the cold. It didn't matter where you rode, it mattered that you could. So, now you've seen them. 15 motorcycles that didn't just survive the 1970s, they owned it. These machines weren't built for trends. They weren't built for profit margins. They were built to last. To earn your trust, one kickstart at a time. And maybe that's why, even after 50 years, they still haunt the roads, still fire up in barns, still hold their value not just in money, but in memories. But now, I want to hear from you. What's the one bike that never let you down? Maybe it was your dad's CB750. Maybe it was that XS650 you sold and still regret. Or maybe you've got a crusty Goldwing in your garage right now that just won't die. Tell me, what's the most reliable motorcycle you've ever ridden? Drop it in the comments below. And don't hold back. Tell us the stories, the breakdowns that never happened, the cross-country trips, the first time it roared to life after winter. Let's make this comment section a living museum for the bikes that earned their respect. And if you're still watching this and thinking, man, they just don't make them like that anymore, you're right, they don't. But maybe, just maybe, we can keep their legacy alive. One story at a time.